Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. I would like to start off the show letting you all know what took place earlier this week. As many of you know, I was not able to do the show on Tuesday, and that's probably going to affect possibly both shows next week or the following week. I do not know at this time yet. But I'm ended up with some medical issues. So give you a brief summary of what took place. Monday, I started having severe pains in my abdomen that continued to get worse and worse until eventually I ended up with a lot of episodes of vomiting. And this just came on out of nowhere. Something I'd never experienced before. I had no idea what was going on. And before it finally reached a point where I was not able to even walk, my wife decided, let's go ahead and take you to the hospital. And I ended up in the ER there, and they ran a whole bunch of tests. One of the tests being a CAT scan, and they determined that my gallbladder was having an attack. So I don't know if you've ever had a gallbladder attack before. It was my first, but it is not very good. They found some other issues in there with inflamed areas of tissue, as well as gallstones. So bottom line is I will have to have a surgery. I met with them today or yesterday with the surgeons, and I will go back next week and meet with them to have more tests done. To determine what type surgery they're going to do and give me my options. And we go from there. You know, I don't know. I didn't even ask them what the recovery period is. I can't imagine it being more than a few days. But anyhow, so looks like I'm going to be minus a body part in the very near future. And so be it. We'll move on. So just want to get that out of the way. That's what happened Tuesday. That's why I was not able to do the show. I actually thought about canceling tonight because I'm still in pain. It's not nowhere near as much as it was. I am on some medications to help with the pain. So that allowed me to continue on tonight and do this show. And we'll see what next week brings on Tuesday, depending on how I'm feeling. And then Wednesday, we go back to the doctors and get more tests done. And then they will come up with a game plan as to how to fix me. So that's where we're at. I want to start off tonight's news talking about something that's got not just the left upset, but a shit ton of people, Republicans as well as Democrats, liberals, conservatives, anyone that uses the platform TikTok. All right. Now, I, for one, do have a TikTok account. Many people have TikTok accounts. Millions of people have TikTok accounts. So what's happening with this platform, TikTok? You may know that recently the House passed a bill to ban TikTok from America. That's not new. That's also started actually under Trump's administration, where he warned about we need to ban TikTok. Now, why do we want to ban TikTok? Let's look at that. There's a lot of stuff floating around out there that's just not true. Here's the bottom line. The company that owns TikTok, and that is, the name is, I thought I had it right here. I'm sort of reading this entire thing to you. I was going to just go through bits and pieces. It's called ByteDance, ByteDance. All right. They own TikTok. And they only answer to one entity. And that entity happens to be the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party has full control, basically, of what can be and cannot be shown on TikTok. And they manipulate it to where it's only things that, when it comes to political stuff, that will fit their agenda. Now, right now, it's pretty bland. To my knowledge, China's not really done anything to cause any upset and alarm bells to go off. But enough Democrat and Republican senators that have been looking into this and talking to the CIA and their military and the FBI, they've come to the conclusion that, yes, this company answers directly to China. So what could happen is why they want to do the ban. What could happen is that TikTok decides, based on what the Chinese Communist Party tells them to do, that the news that's being put out on TikTok is only allowed to be what the Chinese Communist Party wants Americans to know, similar to how they do with their own country. All right. All the news media there is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. And the people of China only get a portion of the truth. So as we get closer to election, it is the fear that the Chinese Communist Party will start interjecting themselves into our election and putting information that's pro for one candidate and negative for the other, or vice versa. We don't know which candidate that would be or wouldn't be. We don't even know that they would do that. But the potential is there for them to do it. So what these senators and congressmen would like to see happen, and it still has to go to the Senate and pass. Joe Biden has said if it reaches his desk, he will sign it, outlawing it in America. But what the bill says is it gives time for this company to sell the company to another group that is not held hostage by the Communist Party of China. And then TikTok would be allowed in America. It's kind of like if TikTok, the company, answered to Russia, or they answered to Iran, or Hezbollah, or Hamas terrorists. Okay. China is not our friends right now. Yes, everything's made in China, but if you're paying attention to the news, there's a lot of things happening with China that's not good. And these members of Congress are afraid of what the Chinese Communist Party may do when it comes to TikTok. So, that being said, TikTok CEO is a guy by the name of Shou, S-H-O-U, Chew, C-H-E-W. And he has appealed directly to TikTok users and said, I need you to reach out to all of your members of Congress and let them know how upset you are about this potential ban of TikTok in America. And the people are doing it. Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, and some of them on the far left are going to extremes, talking about how if they ban it, they will take their own lives. Just saying some outright horrible things to the members of Congress to try and get them to not ban TikTok. It has become its own little virus inside of America's youth, not to mention all of America and many forms, fashions. So that's what's happening with TikTok. We will find out what happens when this bill reaches the Senate. And if it does pass the Senate, Biden says he will sign it. Trump now has switched courses. He's saying he's not for banning TikTok at the moment, although when he was president, he was for banning them. So I don't know what his flip-flopping is all about there. But that's where we stand right now with that particular social media platform. And where this goes in the future, I don't know. We'll see. But it's not really something that, if what the senators are saying is true, and that TikTok answers directly to the Communist Party of China, then I get it. We need to ban this. Otherwise, if that's not factual, then I don't see it harming anyone. So we'll see. Time will tell. More truth will be out there in the coming days and weeks. Now, let's talk about the Biden administration. The Biden administration's FBI director, Christopher Wray, who I have called out many times for his outright double standard of enforcing the law. He is once again warning on a wide array of dangerous threats coming from the U.S.-Mexican border, including not just drug trafficking, violent gangs and smugglers, human smugglers, but terrorist ties with ISIS. Director Wray was asked by Senator Marco Rubio at a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing about the threats at the border, including the Tren de Agua gang from Venezuela. Wray said he couldn't speak to a specific gang, but said that there were dangerous individuals entering via the southern border. From an FBI perspective, we're seeing a wide array of very dangerous threats that'll emanate from the border. And that includes everything from drug trafficking. The FBI alone seized enough fentanyl in the last 2 years to kill 270 million people. That's just on the fentanyl side, the FBI director said. An awful lot of violent crime in the United States is at the hands of gangs who are themselves involved in distributing of the fentanyl, he said. Officials have warned about the presence of gangs, including the Agua gang. It's reported on last week by Fox News, Customs and Border Protection, internal bulletin that told agents to be on the lookout for those coming across the border who may show signs of belonging to the bloodthirsty gang. Fox News reported last week that the brother of the suspect in the killing of Georgia student Laken Riley has ties to that particular gang. Both the suspect and his brother are Venezuelans who entered the U.S. illegally. Rubio asked Wray whether smuggling networks or moving people all over the world could also have ties to ISIS or other terrorist organizations. So, what I want to be a little bit careful about how far I can go in an open session, and there is a particular network there where some of the overseas facilitators for the smuggling network have ISIS ties that are very concerned about, and they've been spending enormous amounts of effort with our partners, and we are investigating. Exactly what that network is up to is something that's, again, the subject of current investigation, he said. Rubio asked him to confirm that there is a network we're concerned about that has facilitators involved with ties to ISIS terrorists in America. And the director said, correct. There are more than 2.4 million migrant encounters in fiscal year 23, and fiscal year 24 so far included a month with record encounters of over 300,000. The border has become a top political issue, with both President Biden and former President Donald Trump visiting the border this month. Republicans have blamed the crisis on the administration, while the administration says it needs more funding, staffing, and immigration reform to be provided by Congress, and has accused Republicans of stalling that aid for political purposes. Even with the Director Wray and the FBI exposing the truth about the dangers America is facing on our southern border, Joe Biden refuses to reinstate the Trump-era policies that he rescinded. Joe Biden said on day one in office, quote, "I'm not making new law, I'm eliminating bad policy." Biden then acted to halt construction of Trump's $16 billion wall along the border and sent far-reaching immigration bill to Congress, where lawmakers have long been stalemate between liberals looking to ease the path to U.S. citizenship and conservatives seeking to stem unauthorized immigration. Biden Democrats used that bill to blame Republicans for the broader crisis and saying they refused to pass this bill, while neglecting the truth, which is that the bill has nothing to do with the current crisis that Biden created himself on our border. It's a bill based on our immigration policies after you're already here. Biden said, quote, we're going to work to undo the moral and national shame of the previous administration that literally, not figuratively, ripped children from the arms of their families and mothers and fathers at the border, and with no plan, none whatsoever, to reunify children. Although, if an American citizen does something illegally and they are arrested by law enforcement officers, any law enforcement officer, doesn't matter if it's Border Patrol, if it's Sheriff's Office, if it's city police, if it's state police, if it's the FBI, any law enforcement agency in America arrest a U.S. citizen, whether you're born here or you became a citizen, and you committed that crime with your child with you, let's say drunk driving, or having your kid wait out in the car while you go in and steal shit from a store. Doesn't matter what the crime is. Pick a crime. If they're going to have to put you in handcuffs and take you into custody, guess what's not going with you, liberals and Democrats? Your kid. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, a conservative, a liberal. None of that matters. American citizens that commit crimes with their children present are separated from their children, Joe Biden. You know, it's so freaking sad. Furthermore, as we now know tonight, the Biden administration also had no plan for these children, because there are over 85,000. Think about that. 85,000 children that they can't locate in the system that they set up. Biden turned back Trump's Deferred Action on Childhood Arrivals program that grants work permits and protection from deportation of people brought illegally to the United States as children. Biden reversed Trump's zero tolerance policy implemented by former Attorney General Jeff Sessions and contributed to a surge in separation of immigrant families due to the parents being detained separately, which again is the same thing that happens to any American citizen who commits a crime. Biden reversed Trump's Remain in Mexico policy until you get your asylum court date. Biden reversed Trump's policies by executive order ending a visa ban on a group of predominantly Muslim countries, including Libya, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen, that Trump and the FBI and the CIA said were a national security threat. Biden said it was, in fact, a ban targeting Muslims. Biden's immediate focus on day one was the southern border of Mexico. Yes, but only to remove, rescind, whatever you want to call it, all the policies that Trump had in place that were working. Where Trump tried to keep thousands of migrants from Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala from entering the U.S. He set out to reverse everything Trump did. Many backers of the previous administration border initiative, to include myself, said Biden's orders will lead to chaos and lawlessness and massive people coming to the border. And it sure as hell has. Under the Biden administration, more illegal immigrants have entered through the southern border than the population of 36 U.S. states. Since Joe Biden took office and enhanced his failed far-left open border agenda, there have been over 7.2 million illegal immigrants who have entered the United States through our southern border that were caught, and most set free in his catch and release policy. They're not fish, Joe Biden. A policy that Trump had stopped. Here are the facts on Joe Biden and his Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas border crisis by the numbers. Since Joe Biden took office, there have been 8.7 million illegal crossings nationwide. Of those, 7.2 were at our southern border. There have been 1.8 million known gotaways who were able to evade being captured. Since the start of fiscal year 2024, there have been over 1 million illegal immigrant encounters just since fiscal year 2024 started. In January of 2024 alone, there were 176,205 illegal immigrants encountered at the southern border. January 2024 was the 35th straight month where monthly illegal immigrant encounters have been higher than even the highest number seen when Trump was in office. Under Biden, over 340 of these individuals whose names appeared on the terrorist watch list were stopped trying to cross our southern border. So far in fiscal year 24, there have been 58 individuals whose names appear on the terrorist watch list who have ties with terrorist organizations overseas, been stopped trying to enter the U.S. illegally between ports of entry. This total is more than the encounters in all of fiscal year 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22 combined. Over 20,000 communist Chinese nationals have illegally crossed the southern border just since fiscal year 2024 began this past October. Communist Chinese nationals are exploiting Joe Biden's failed far-left open border policies at record-breaking figures, becoming the fastest growing demographic entering the country illegally. The surge in communist Chinese nationals encountered at our southern border has raised serious concerns that the Chinese Communist Party is exploiting the Biden border crisis for nefarious reasons. Biden's far-left open border policies are to blame for this historic crisis. There are over 60 instances of Joe Biden and his administration taking actions that undermine our national border security, including halting construction of the border wall. In August of 2022, Biden's administration decided to make the border crisis worse by formally ending Trump's Remain in Mexico program. The Biden administration announced on May 10th of 2023 that it would allow for the release of some migrants into the U.S. with no way to track them at all. Biden's Department of Homeland Security has now admitted that 40% of the catch and release migrants have just vanished into America. Despite this heroic crisis, Joe Biden has only visited the southern border twice, with most recent because Trump was there, and the optics with this upcoming election looked pretty damn bad, so Joe went. Had it not been for that, Joe wouldn't have went. But in true Democrat fashion, it was nothing more than a photo op. Facts about the Secure Border Act of 2023 that Republicans put forward and Democrats refused would force the Biden administration to restart construction of the border wall, deploy technologies to the southern and northern border that the Border Patrol is asking for. And they're also, by the way, asking for the wall. Increase the number of Border Patrol agents to provide bonus pay. Require transparency regarding illegal crossings from the Department of Homeland Security. Strengthen current law to protect unaccompanied children from human trafficking. End catch and release. End abuse of executive immigration authority. And strengthen and streamline the asylum process. And of course, they will not do that. And they will continue to blame Trump and Republicans like they always do. Trump's defense attorney, Todd Blanche, argued in court today that Trump's position is that the Presidential Records Act gives the president the authority to retain documents he sees fit and essentially take them home or out of the White House. And if that's accurate, then alone it's fatal to special counsel Jack Smith's indictment. Presidents since George Washington have taken material out of the White House, said Blanche, adding that the PRA was passed in the late 70s and nothing in the statute says anything about documents with markings or anything that gives the National Archives, NARA, the ability to challenge a president's decision about which documents are personal versus presidential. Team Trump also points out often that then President Trump caused these boxes to be moved while he was still president, and that this is the first time that the National Archives has challenged the decision made by a president about which documents are personal versus presidential. They claim that the National Archives only took this action because the president in question was Donald Trump. U.S. District Court Judge Aileen Cannon told Blanchard, all that might be right, but I don't see how it leads to a dismissal of the indictment, maybe a defense at trial. Blanchard replied that this was a proper avenue for a dismissal because the government must prove that the process of the documents possession of the documents was unauthorized. However, Judge Cannon seemed to double down, saying the arguments might have some force at trial, but it's hard to see how it gets you to a dismissal. Judge Cannon at one point remarked that Trump's defense teams viewed the Presidential Records Act would essentially gut the PRA, giving presidents the unfettered ability to classify clearly presidential records as personal. Mr. Blanche replied that it is up to Congress to change the law. That's what's supposed to happen. Department of Justice can't just decide what is personal versus what is presidential. We don't have a case law on this because this has never been done before, added Blanche. While he was the president, he took records like many presidents. For the first time ever, the National Archives took a different path and made a criminal referral instead of negotiating with the president as had been done in the past. Judge Cannon at one point said, correct. The seizure of a president's record was seen as an extraordinary act. Blanche pointed out that in the aftermath of the Clinton presidency, President Clinton hid tapes in his socks, and the National Archives said there's nothing we can do about that. Judge Cannon asked if those tapes contained any classified information. Blanche said no one knows because the tapes were never recovered by the FBI because they didn't go after Clinton for him. And they can't have it both ways, said Blanche. No efforts to investigate whether there was national defense information in President Clinton's socks, but still referring to Trump's matter to the Department of Justice for potential criminal prosecution. Department of Justice prosecutor David Hatchback told Judge Cannon that the documents seized at Mar-a-Lago were not personal, nowhere close to that. The only interference is that they were presidential, not personal. Herback also went on back to one of Judge Cannon's questions to the defense. Overview is that President Trump's position would completely gut the PRA. Mr. Hatchback also took pains to stress the independence of Special Counsel Jack Smith's team. We're not appendages or puppets of the Biden administration, he said. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Because Joe Biden did the exact same fucking thing, and he didn't have his shit secured by Secret Service, guarding it at Mar-a-Lago. No, he had it at his offices. He had it at his house. He had it in his garage. Trump at least had Secret Service at Mar-a-Lago watching over his shit. Jeez. And look, there's a lot of people on the left right now that are pointing to MSNBC and CNN and certain liberal news pundits, even YouTubers, liberal YouTubers that are taking bits and pieces of her when he was in front of Congress recently, just what the Democrats asked and not showing you the whole damn hearing. If you watch the whole damn hearing, liberals and Democrats, like I did, you would know that there's no difference between what Biden did and what Trump did. There's no difference other than what Biden did is worse because they were unsecured and there was no Secret Service guarding them. They were just in location. Hell, the documents that were at his office got moved to 3 separate different offices over time. We know from the report from her that Biden knew that the classified documents were in his garage. He knew they were because the person that was writing the biography said, quote, Biden, while telling me about classified information, said, hold on a minute. I've got some more classified information to show you. And he went to the garage and brought some out to show the guy. But the Democrats and liberals won't talk about that, will they? No. They won't share that with you. Why not? Because it doesn't go against their narrative. The narrative is what Biden did is nothing near what Trump did. It isn't. You're right. It's way worse. But you idiots refuse to fucking admit it because you only listen to talking points from far left liberal organizations and liberal people on YouTube spreading the liberal narrative and the Democrat narrative, which is that Trump is this evil person that did shit way worse than Biden did. And that is absolutely not true. Just watch the entire hearing from start to finish. I know it's going to take up some of your fucking precious time. Do whatever you do, liberals, in your time. I don't know what you do in your free time besides protest shit and go out and wear fucking purple and pink hats and do stupid shit. But watch it. Watch it from start to finish. Not just what you're being shown on YouTube and by the liberal media. Watch it for yourself. And if you come away thinking that what Biden did is less than what Trump did, then you're brain dead. Period. Moving on. Democrat Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is facing backlash on social media over a resurfaced clip that seemingly contradicts President Biden's recent comment where he walked back calling Laken Riley's alleged killer an illegal. People who enter the United States without our permission are illegal aliens, and illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who enter the U.S. legally, Schumer said during a 2009 speech. You can see it right here on YouTube. Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple, Schumer said. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now, Schumer said. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it's illegal and wrong. Schumer drew criticism over the weekend from conservatives in light of President Biden's referring to the illegal immigrants who allegedly killed 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley as an illegal in his State of the Union address before later walking it back the term after many in his party took issue with it because, it's not politically correct and you hurt our feelings and you're going to hurt the feelings of illegal immigrants. This is Democrat Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer from 2009 talking about how unacceptable illegal immigrant is. Outkick.com founder Clay Travis posted on X. Now Dems say it's unacceptable to even use the word illegal. Things everyone said just a few years ago are now considered unacceptable. Democrats really used to want to stop illegal immigration. Conservative comedian Tim Young posted on X. Here's Chuck Schumer in 2009 telling us all how illegal immigrant is wrong. What changed? Schumer and Pelosi had it exactly right about calling illegal immigrants illegal. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott posted on X referring to a separate comment now from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made during a press conference. Now they changed their position to appease the far left progressive agenda. Their actions imperil our country. We have a commitment to secure the border? Yes. What are the opinions or options that we have available to us? Let's make sure they work, Pelosi said during a 2008 press conference. While Pelosi went on to use the term undocumented in 2008, she followed up by saying the government did not want any more coming in because we do not need to address this issue on immigration and the challenge we have of undocumented people in our country, she continued. We certainly do not want any more coming in. Pelosi recently downplayed Biden's illegal comment during a CNN interview by saying, now we should have said undocumented, but that's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing? Aaron Bennett, a spokesperson for Pelosi, told Fox News Digital that while Speaker Pelosi backs partisan legislation that includes the toughest and fairest reforms to secure the border in decades, Governor Abbott only backs Donald Trump, who directed MAGA Republicans to kill the deal because he thinks that will help him politically. Missouri Republican Senator Eric Schmidt referred to the comparison of Schumer in 2009 and Biden today as unbelievable in a post on X. Despicable. Center for Renewing American senior fellow Mark Pelota wrote on X. Schumer appeared to defend Biden last week when pressed during an interview on The View about Biden's use of the word illegal. Look, he showed in his heart how he feels about immigrants. He showed that he knows immigrants contribute greatly to America. He talked about our long history with immigrants and even showed real empathy for the family that lost a loved one in Georgia, although he couldn't get her name right. So I think that Joe Biden comes out really well on immigration issue in his speeches, Schumer said. You keep on believing that. Over the weekend, Biden was pressed by MSNBC's Jonathan Capehart about the backlash he has received from some Democrats for using the word illegal to refer to Jose Ibarra, a Venezuelan national charged with murdering Riley, who was a University of Georgia nursing student out on a run on her campus last month. He said, I shouldn't have used illegal. I shouldn't have. It's undocumented, Biden told MSNBC News after members of his party criticized him for using the term illegal to describe the alleged killer. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on this border was the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talk about what I'm not going to do and won't do, Biden said. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing, we have to control the border and more orderly flow. But I don't share his view at all. Biden was blasted by top Republicans over the weekend for walking it back, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, calling it an embarrassment. Well, Biden said over the weekend that he had a great regret over the use of the term illegal in his major speech, while White House spokesperson Olivia Dalton disputed a reporter's characteristic of Biden apologizing on Monday, saying, first of all, I want to be really clear about something. The president absolutely did not apologize. There was no apology anywhere in that conversation. He did not apologize. He used a different word, she added. Olivia Dalton, I'm sorry. Do you have people that help you get dressed in the morning? Maybe help you brush your teeth, wipe your ass? Because this is how you got what you said out of that is unbelievable. Let's go back and look at that one more time. Biden said, I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. He's a murderer. He killed this woman jogging on Georgia's campus. And you don't want to disrespect him by calling him an illegal? And you're the president of the United States of America? You're a fucking disgrace to the United States of America. A shocking California Democrat-led bill to protect violent illegal immigrants from deporting is drawing fierce backlash. And now one California Assemblywoman is speaking out against the bill that would protect illegal immigrants convicted of violent crimes from being deported, calling the possible legislation shocking. California Assemblywoman Kate Sanchez said the text in this bill is mind-blowing. I have to tell you honestly, our California voters and people across the nation deserve transparency. They deserve to know their hardworking taxpayer dollars are going to do things that reward California residents and taxpayers, not to expand a program that would have allowed convicted illegal immigrants to stay here. It's mind-blowing, she said. Honestly, it was one of those bills that you have to read 2 or 3 times because it's so damn shocking. Representation, Equity, and Protections, All Immigrants Act, it was called, introduced by Democrat Assemblyman Reggie Jones Sawyer last month, would remove restrictions on grant funds to provide immigration-related legal services to those convicted of violent or serious felonies, according to official summary of the bill. As long as I have been in the state office, I've worked towards ensuring the people are given a second chance, Joan Sawyer said of the legislation. I bet if they killed one of your family members, you wouldn't feel the same way about giving them a second chance. Just guess. The RAP of All Immigration Act ensures racial justice and truly equitably access to crucial immigration services for all. The funds would come from the One California program, which provides $45 million in grants each year to nonprofits to provide free immigration legal services and conduct education outreach in immigrant communities. The funding is intended to help those who cannot otherwise afford an attorney, although they're going to get one provided by the fucking any state. If you're arrested in any state in America and you don't have any money, guess what? You get a public defender. But oh no, we're going to get money in there to give them a good, high-paying attorney to get them out of this murder they committed or rape they committed. The services include legal representation, including those facing deportation, and also those applying for deferred action for childhood arrivals, naturalizing and temporary protection status, the TPS, but it currently bars those funds from being used for those convicted of certain crimes. Legislation would ultimately end those restrictions and also update the program to expand the services that can provide to include interpreters, social services, and legislative costs if passed. It would give hardworking taxpayer dollars to fund and expand a program that would allow criminals, illegal alien criminals that have been convicted, to stay in California. Not only that, it would expand it to those across the United States with the intent to come to California to live. The bill prompted a swarm of scrutiny from Republicans and critics alike. Even Elon Musk chimed in on the bill, writing, "When is enough on X over the weekend." Sanchez said the bill's critics made their voices heard. It was ultimately shelved after facing this horrible backlash. It is shelved for now, but it's not dead. We will revisit this at another date and time. You're an illegal alien and you murder someone, or you rape someone, or you're driving without a license and you kill someone, or maybe you're drunk and you kill someone. Whatever, any felony or misdemeanor, any crime that you commit, California doesn't want to deport you. Nice. The city of College Park, Maryland, hired a racial equity leader to spearhead its mission to eliminate systemic racism in its departments, who have made statements defending violence and promoting the idea of a revolution against the United States. Liberal Democrat Kayla Elise Carter supports Black liberation through revolutionary means and said she is working with some activists to plan how we will eat and live and grow after we burn it all down. She was hired to be a racial equity officer under former Democrat Mayor Patrick L. Wajim, who resigned from office after being arrested for child pornography. According to the city's website, she assembled a team tasked with implementing a racial equity agenda across all city departments, affecting policies, practices, programs, and budgets. However, after publication, the city said that Carter doesn't oversee an entire team. Ms. Carter does not oversee an entire team. Ms. Carter does not supervise city staff, and her work permanently has been with the city's Restorative Justice Commission, which has been charged with the development and implementation of successful process of restoring justice for College Park, Lakeland communities, they said. Carter was hired after former mayor signed into law Resolution 20-R-16, which renounced systemic racism, declared support for Black Lives Matter, and called for the ongoing explicit and concessions confronting of racism and the aftermath of the death of George Floyd in 2020. The law mandated its systemic review, currently being performed by Carter, of all current policies and programs for evidence of bias and disparate impact for Black people. Carter believes it's not enough to be not racist. One must be actively anti-racist and working to dismantle this shit, she said. Some of her posts contain defensive for violence, asking, why do Black people always have to rationalize our violence and anger? Remember, we are at war against colonialism. Read a post on her Instagram. She captioned it with, we can't forget. The header of her X account says the following: I can't wait for society to collapse so my ideology can rise from the ashes. Today, I co-host and occupy space with dozens of people who have committed their lives, businesses, and money to Black liberation. On all days, every day, each day, light workers already been planning for how we will eat and live and grow after we burn it all down, she wrote. Another post from May of 2020 reads, do y'all understand why the oppressed constantly shamed out of using violence? Because the oppressor wants to be the sole profiteer of violence. They don't want to deal with back talk. Do as I say, not as I do. Carter frequently posts stories about her day-to-day life and uses the term white people to refer to colleagues. I can't believe I forgot to tweet this earlier, but I went to the office this morning. A white person said, you cut your hair, or took it out, I guess. I was so uncomfortable because I hadn't had braids in a month, but this distracted me from the fact that I needed a new job, she wrote on the post. In another, she wrote, this white man in my meeting just said, I want to take a moment to give the floor to any Black participant who can tell us what Martin Luther King Day means to them. And I'm sure she couldn't even answer that question. I swear I'm wheezing who hires these people. The fuck is wheezing mean? Other radicalized comments included her saying, this is why I can't stand Blacks. And this is why I can't trust white people. In April and July of 2022, respectively. In 2021, she posted, I hate when white children stare at me. It's literally terrifying. So I just stare back until they stop. The police are all white supremacists, she wrote in August. For her work in the city government, Carter makes $75,600 a year, which is slightly above the average salary for the state of $69,750. According to her post on X, Carter doesn't appear to be enthusiastic about her role and blames capitalism for forcing her to be in the workforce. You know, you can just go home and pump out babies, and Democrats will support you. She'd rather be a college artist or a lady of leisure, she said on X in March and July of 2023, respectively. You want to be a prostitute? That's great. Tired of being so underpaid, also tired of applying to new jobs. I don't want to go back to selling drugs, but this economy is getting desperate, she wrote this past October. Engaging in important dialogues, exploring the impact of capitalism on daily life, It's a Tuesday and I have to work, Carter wrote on X. The post included a screenshot of a text message exchange. The outgoing message said, "White man calling. I got to go. I need a new job, but the problem is I don't want to work. I just want to lay in my bed being a girl. Can anyone help me with this?" Carter said just this past January. So, City of College Park, Maryland, good job hiring this fucking idiot. She shouldn't be allowed to do anything for you. Not even wash government cars, for crying out loud. Nothing. Nothing. This is a radical idiot that you hired. Time will tell, now that this is hitting the news, whether or not they will change their policy and get rid of this crazy ass bitch who, oh, by the way, is already saying, "I don't want to work," and complaining that she only makes $79,000 a year. Unbelievable. Anyway, folks, it's been a pleasure to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. As I told you in the beginning of tonight's show, what next week holds, I'm not really positive about yet. But I'm going to see this thing out and do whatever the doctors recommend. Hopefully, do Monday's show. And depending on if they do surgery or not Wednesday, I may or may not be able to do Thursday's show. I don't know what the recovery time is like for this. But as far as I'm concerned, just remove the damn gallbladder and let's move on. Because I don't want to continue dealing with this. In the meantime, I will take my medications as prescribed and enjoy this upcoming weekend the best that I can. Not eating anything that's fried foods or greasy. That's for damn sure. Because I don't need to make the situation worse than it already is. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you again very, very much for being here tonight. And it is very, very, very much appreciated, my friends. Take care.